Cool. All right, let's look at setting the table. So when we talk about this in the simplest terms, what we're really saying is setting the table means preparation before being served. And when we try to bring it down to that simple of terms, we're really trying to say this is how simple things really are. A listing presentation is like a meal. We're about to feed these people. Think of it now. If we come in with too much food, they're going to gag on it. They're going to choke on it. They're not going to be able to enjoy the meal. But if we bring a nice, pleasant setup of things that are palatable, of things that they can consume without all of a sudden needing to fall over because they ate too much, all of a sudden they pay attention differently. I think the first time that I ever saw this in an example that I didn't expect, number one, was we were in Miami and one of our sons took us to dinner. Him and his wife took me and Luann to dinner at this place. And it was one of these things that was like a crazy expensive place. You wouldn't have caught me spending my money there. Anyway, it was a great meal. Anyway, they come to the table and they bring you something. They bring you a glass of wine that's paired to whatever this dish is. And then they set it there. And there's not a great deal of food on the plate. This is going to be like a 7-course meal. But, it's a presentation. I mean, the way they set the table truly in all of this, you take your first bite and because there's not a lot, you savor it. When there's a lot of stuff, but you savor every little bit of it. That same thing happens with a buyer or seller when we make a great presentation. And so there are times, and I can recall doing this, saying to my sellers, the presentation I'm about to make is like a 5-course meal or like a 3-course meal. And all of a sudden they would kind of stop and they would ask the question, well, what does that mean? I would say, well, we're going to do this, then we're going to do that, then we're going to do this. And I would literally say, I'm setting the table for what we're going to do and how we're going to go about it. And what we discovered was they got very comfortable once they knew what was coming. And I took that over into the recruiting world. When I was working with bringing agents on my staff, the same thing was true. I gave them a copy of what we were going to be working on so that they could follow along and know where in the process we were. Well, that presentation I would do with a potential agent, it would be on one page. And we would go over those things and literally they knew, okay, we're about halfway through. You could see that they weren't going, oh, brother, we've got another 37 pages to deal with. They were looking at this and you could feel them getting comfortable. And the next thing you know, I start recruiting people like crazy. So that might not work for you, but it worked for me. And if you're not recruiting at the level you really would like to right now, give this a try.